go. 1 second. Share. Yay. Sharing one more time. Hello, hello, everybody. Happy to be in the house today. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Gather in, gather in. I am here. REL, True Seeker. It has been a really chill couple of days since the last time you saw me. I have been getting into so many books, and I can't even like stay in one book. Like I read like the first chapter, and then I'm like into another book, and I get into the first chapter. What's up, Juan Torres? Much love. Great to see you. Um, I have so many books that I can't even think straight, so I have decided to go ahead and just read everything, of course, which we already knew I was doing. Um, but today's book, I got, ended up on the coffee table thanks to the man, and I couldn't help but pick it up because it was just such an interesting and fascinating topic to me. It's Psycho-Cybernetics. Does anybody know what Psycho-Cybernetics is, or can you tell me what you think Psycho-Cybernetics is about, before I even tell you what's going on? I know there's nothing in the description right now, but I will definitely. Oh, what's up, Marky Rizzo? Good to see you. I will definitely be putting a description to this. I just thought about the fact that I didn't do that. But y'all have to bear with me because I'm doing lives and stuff kind of jank, and it's not even jank, it's just using my phone, and so I don't think of everything that I should or could do because it just looks different when you do it on your phone. But I like my setup right now because my phone is really nice camera. And chill and everything. But gosh, okay, let me stop rambling because I'm just thinking about all the things that I used to do. um I was talking about psycho-cybernetics. Does anybody know what psycho-cybernetics can, like, that's what I was saying. Sounds like AI taking over psychological functions, maybe too technical. Okay, all right, Juan. I definitely see why you would think that, but you are close, but not quite. Close, but not quite. So this is definitely not a technical book. I am not talking about anything technical, but it's definitely psychological. So you hit the nail on the head with that one. I'll go ahead and just read the beginning, what it says right here. It's tap into the power of your subconscious mind to improve your self-image, to learn to use your positive past, to set and achieve worthwhile goals, develop compassion, self-respect, and forgiveness, cultivate the power of rational thinking, discover the key to a happier, more successful life. So nothing to do with AI, but definitely everything to do with your personal psychology, to, like it says, improve your self-image and cultivate the power of rational thinking. One of the things that I am like learning about this realm is just how powerful the human mind is, and just how connected we are to creation. Whatever this creation is, whatever this place is that we are, this current reality, we are plugged into it so completely that we have power of manifestation. We have power over our own reality. We have power using our subconscious. The energies of this realm, they are connected to our bodies. Our bodies are just the physical part of us that we can see, There are other people who can see auras, and there are other things than just like an aura. An aura is really an like this all encompassing description for all of the energy that comes out from our body. Like our bodies are just a duplicate kind of copy. What's up, Ryan? Good to see you. Much love, brother. Our energies are, I mean, our bodies, our physical bodies are just like a hologram copy of what our real consciousness is. Our consciousness is go beyond our senses. Hey Jenny Spark, much love, sis. Our consciousness is just way bigger than the five senses that we can attain here. Anything that is tangible. Much love, big bro Eric. Much love. I hope you're doing well. Kiss Ganima for me and the rest of the babies that I don't know all their names. um so like I picked up this book because of the man, and y'all know who the man is, but I'm not going to keep saying his name. But just y'all know when I refer to the man, I mean my significant other. Okay, so he got this book. It was a gift for him, which was really cool. And I just couldn't help it. I couldn't help it. I mean, if it's on the kitchen, if it's on the coffee table, it's for a free game. Okay, if it's on the coffee table, it's free game, and I'm gonna pick it up and I'm gonna read it. So today I thought that it would be good to read maybe like the first, like the preface and the first chapter, because the preface, the preface is the secret to using this book to change your life. So the reason I'm reading this book to you guys is because I want to change my own life. I want to change my own thinking about myself and moving forward. I really do want to connect to whatever it is. I want to figure it out. And I think that there is so much psychological, subconscious decoding that I need to do. And I have done a lot of it. I am proud of how far I've come in the last 30 years. I have overcome a lot, and being able to say that, out loud, is a big step for me, because I used to didn't even like acknowledge, that I had been through shit, and, I diminished my own pain just because it didn't look like everybody else's. But everyone has their own pain. Everybody goes through their own shit. And one size does not fit all. That is the thing that I am finding out. One size has never and never will fit all. One religion cannot fit all. I mean, one religion cannot fit all. I think until we are on the other side, that is the only place that we can know that we are all one. And I think it all, just in the end, it doesn't matter, because we are all connected. And I do think that there is a source of creation and love and everything. So I guess in ultimate reality, I do think there is one that we are all. I'm sorry. I'm trying to beat around the bush, because I know that there are people listening who are not going to agree with me, and this is so hard for me. If you're a truther, you've been through some stuff, in my opinion. Yes, Jenny, I definitely agree. So anyway, so this book I'm reading, and my intentions behind this is to unlock the pain, to be able to face whatever it is, and to change those lies that I have been telling myself over and over and over and over again in the back of my head. You guys have the same little lies in the back of your head that you have told yourself for the last however many years that are not true, about how you're not worth it, about how you're stupid, about how you're not pretty, about how you can never amount to anything, about how you're a failure, about how you don't try too much, or how you do try too much, or how you're guilty about everything. All those little lies in the back of your head. You're not a good parent. You're not a good a sibling. And it is, I agree, Jenny, one of the hardest things to work on. And something that I'm learning is that you can't just say over and over to yourself, like affirmations are great, okay? So they are great, but if they only help you so far if you don't know the key to your subconscious, and so we have to learn that. So that's what I think I picked up this book for. Is to get me a step beyond the affirmations, to understand the science behind the affirmations. One thing about this book that I have enjoyed thus far, I've actually read the first 2 chapters myself, but this book was written by a plastic surgeon, and he says, he was doing plastic surgery, and of course, when you change a person's face, it completely changes their whole personality. People who were shy become outgoing. People who are, have bad grades all of a sudden have straight A's. They completely, they're because their self-image has changed. They see themselves differently. So they are able to accomplish all of these things that they never thought that they could accomplish because their self-image was changed. And they see themselves in the light. But the plastic surgeon, he said that there are some cases where changing a person's face did not change their self-image. Meaning, they would have this huge defect on their face, and even though they had a perfect face now with a perfectly straight nose, they still saw an ugly person in the mirror. They still saw the hump. It was still there. There was still something that had not been triggered in their psyche, in their subconscious, to make that self-image change. So I'm fascinated by that, and I too. And I think that, affirmations have brought me thus far, and there's never a bad time to continue to grow. And I think that we can use affirmations in tandem with, is that the right word? Hand in hand, in tandem with, with this science. So I've already been talking. If you guys are still listening, if you guys think this is interesting, please give me a 1 in the chat. Let me know that you're here, that you think this is great, and that you hope to learn something from it as well. I will get through as much as I can reading out loud. I think, like I said, I want to get through the preface, which really is very interesting, and at least chapter 1 today. And I might be back a little bit later to read something else. So, all right, that's what's up, Juan. All right, you and me both, bro. Mark Rizzo. All right, we got this. Let's go ahead and talk about the secret of using this book to change your life. Discovery of the self-image represents a breakthrough in psychology and the field of creative personality. The significance of the self-image has been recognized since the early 1950s, yet there had been little written about it before Psycho-Cybernetics. Curiously enough, this is not because self-image psychology has not worked, but because it has worked so amazingly well. As one of my colleagues expressed it, I am reluctant to publish my findings, especially for the lay public, because if I presented some of the case histories and described the rather amazing and spectacular improvements in personality, I would be accused of exaggerating or trying to start a cult, or both. I too felt the same sort of reluctance. Any book I might write on the subject would be sure to be regarded as somewhat unorthodox by some of my colleagues for several reasons. In the first place, it is somewhat unorthodox for a plastic surgeon to write a book on psychology. In the second place, it will probably be regarded in some quarters as even more unorthodox to go outside the tight little dogma, the closed system of the science of psychology, and seek answers concerning human behavior in the field of physics, anatomy, and the new science of cybernetics. My answer is that any good plastic surgeon is and must be a psychologist, whether he would have it so or not. When you change a man's face, you almost invariably change his future. change his psychological image, and nearly always you change the man, his personality, his behavior, and sometimes even his basic talents and abilities. When you change a person, when you change his psychological image, you nearly always change the man. So see, you can, it's not about being a good plastic surgeon. Oh my gosh, you change his talents and abilities. His talent, that means like somebody who couldn't play the piano yesterday is all of a sudden can play the piano almost as if it's overnight, just like that. That is how much power that we're talking about here. Beauty is more than skin deep. A plastic surgeon does not simply alter a man's face, he alters the man's inner self. The incisions he makes are more than skin deep. They frequently cut deep into the psyche as well. I decided a long time ago that this is an awesome responsibility and that I owe it to my patients and to myself to know something about what I'm doing. No responsible MD would attempt to perform extensive plastic surgery without specialized knowledge and training. Just so, I feel that if changing a man's face is going to change the inner man as well, I have a responsibility to acquire specialized knowledge in that field also. Hey, this guy seems pretty smart. Seems like one of the smarter doctors out there. His brain might not be in a complete and total box, from college and stuff. Failures that lead to success. In a previous book written some 20 years ago called New Faces, New Futures, I published more or less a collection of case histories where plastic surgery, and particularly facial plastic surgery, had opened the door to a new life for many people. The book told of the amazing changes that often occur quite suddenly and dramatically in a person's personality when you change his face. I was elated in my successes in this respect. But, like Sir Humphrey Davy, I learned more from my failures than from my successes. Some patients showed no change in personality after surgery. In most cases, a person who had a conspicuously ugly face or some freakish feature corrected by surgery, experienced an almost immediate, usually within 21 days, rise in self-esteem, self-confidence. But in some cases, the patient continued to feel inadequate and experienced feelings of inferiority. In short, these failures continued to feel, act, and behave just as if they had and still had an ugly face. I need to say that again. Just so that he's saying that no patients showed a change in personality, and that most of the time, if you have a really ugly face or you have some really freak feature on your face or your body or something, then almost immediately, at least within 21 days, and you guys should remember that 21 days is a very common number to change a habit. When they say that whenever you want to, if you want to stop smoking, if you want to lose weight, if you want to, those affirmations, you got to do everything for at least 21 days. And this book definitely strengthens that or backs that up. This is another check mark in that direction. But then it continues to say that in some cases that even after that freak feature is gone, even after they have a beautiful face, they still felt inadequate and experienced feelings of inferiority. This indicated to me that reconstruction of the physical image itself was not the real key to changes in personality. There was something else, which was usually influenced by facial surgery, but sometimes not. When this something else was reconstructed, the person himself changed. When this something else was not reconstructed, the person himself remained the same, although his physical features might be radically different. The face of personality. It was as if personality itself had a face. This non-physical face of personality seemed to be the real key to personality change. If it remained sacred, if it remained scarred, distorted, ugly, or inferior, the person himself acted out this role in his behavior, regardless of the changes in his physical appearance. If this face of personality could be reconstructed, if old emotional scars could be removed, then the person himself changed, even without the facial plastic surgery. Once I began to explore this area, I found more and more phenomena that confirmed the fact that the self image, the individual's mental and spiritual concept or picture of himself, was the real key to personality and behavior. More about this in the first chapter. Ooh. Truth is where you find it. Truth is where you find it. We should underline that. We should put that on a t-shirt. Truth is where you find it. I have always believed in going wherever it may be necessary to find truth, even if international boundaries must be crossed. When I decided to become a plastic surgeon years ago, German doctors were far ahead of the rest of the world in this field, so I went to Germany. In my search for the self-image, I also had to cross boundaries, although invisible ones. Although the science of psychology acknowledged the self-image and its role in human behavior, psychology's answer to the question of how the self-image exerts its influence, how it creates a new personality, what happens inside the human nervous system when the self-image is changed, was somehow. I found most of my answers in the new science of cybernetics, which restored theology or teleology as a respectable concept in science. It is rather strange that the new science of cybernetics grew out of the work of physicists and mathematicians rather than that of psychologists, especially when it understood that cybernetics has to do with teleology, the goal-striving, goal-oriented behavior of mechanical systems. The goal-striving, goal-oriented behavior of mechanical systems. Okay, you guys, listen up. Cybernetics explains what happens and what is necessary in the purposeful behavior of machines. Psychology, with all its vaulted knowledge of the human psyche, has no satisfactory answer for such a simple, goal-oriented, purposeful situation as, for example, how it is possible for a human to pick up a pen from a desk. But a physicist had an answer. The proponents of many psychological theories were somewhat comparable to men who speculated as to what was in outer space and on other planets, blah, 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 but could not tell what was in their own backyards. The new science of cybernetics made possible an important breakthrough in psychology. I myself take no credit for the breakthrough other than the recognition of it. The fact that this breakthrough came from the work of physicists and mathematicians should not surprise us. Any breakthrough in science is likely to come from outside the system. Okay, you guys, I'm going to read this again. The fact that this breakthrough came from the work of physicists and mathematicians should not surprise us. Any breakthroughs in science is likely to come from outside the system. Quote-unquote experts are the most thoroughly familiar with the developed knowledge inside the prescribed boundaries of a given science. Any new knowledge must usually come from outside, not from experts, but from what someone has defined as an impert. Impert? Yeah, INPERT. Impert. I don't really know what that means though. Somebody look up the word INPERT and tell me what it means, please. I would appreciate you. Okay. But isn't that interesting? He says that experts are not the ones where new information comes from. It has to come from outside the experts who don't know, from places where people are unqualified, because that is how we have new, fresh ideas. It's from outside other people. Pasteur was not an MD. The Wright brothers were not aeronautical engineers. Unskilled. All right. Thank you, Juan. So, inpert, I-N-P-E-R-T, means unskilled, from an unskilled person. So the Wright brothers were not aeronautical engineers, but bicycle mechanics. Einstein, properly speaking, was not a physicist, but a mathematician. Yet his findings in mathematics completely turned upside down all the pet theories in physics. Madame Curie was not an MD, but a physicist. Madame Curie, yeah, I said that right, was not an MD, but a physicist. Yet she made important contributions to medical science. So basically, he's saying that all these people, they didn't know anything about certain things, but they still did great in other areas. And I don't know who Pasteur is, even though I don't know who that is. I know the Wright brothers. Yeah, they did the airplane, and Einstein was a Mason. Madame Curie, I feel, didn't she make hair products? What did she do? She made important contributions to medical science. Was she a black lady? I feel like I should know this, and I feel like my mother is revoking my black card currently, because I don't know that. Somebody tell me that I'm wrong so that I can feel better about my mother being upset. Okay, keep going. Pasteurization. Okay, that guy. So it must be the guy who made that. The Wrong brothers, but that's another live. I know, right? Seriously, Wong. That's a whole nother thing. I can't even stop on that, or Einstein, right? Oh, what's up, Wander of the Zone? Louis Pasteur is one of the fathers of the the germ theory. Yeah, okay. So he must be another Mason too, huh? Ah, that makes sense. Thank you, Wander of the Zone. Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. So how can you use this new knowledge that we realize that if we change our self-image, we can change pretty much everything and anything about ourselves? In this book, I have attempted not only to inform you of this new knowledge from the field of cybernetics, but also to demonstrate how you can use it in your own life to achieve goals that are important to you. The general principles. The self-image is the key to human personality and human behavior. Change the self-image and you change the personality and the behavior. But more than this, the self-image sets the boundaries of individual accomplishment. Okay? The self-image sets the boundaries of individual accomplishment. It defines what you can and cannot do. If you expand the self-image, you expand the area of the possible. The development of adequate, realistic self-image will seem to imbue the individual with new capabilities, new talents, and literally turn failure into success. Self-image psychology has not only been proven by its own merits, but it explains many phenomena that have long been known but not properly understood in the past. For example, there is today irrefutable clinical evidence that the fields of individual psychology, psychosomatic medicine, and industrial psychology, that there are success type personalities and failure type personalities, happiness prone personalities and unhappiness prone personalities, health prone personalities and dis-ease prone personalities. Self-image psychology throws new light on these and many other observable facts of life. It throws new light on the power of positive thinking and, more importantly, explains why it works with some individuals and not with others. Positive thinking does indeed work when it is consistent with the individual's self-image. It literally cannot work when it is inconsistent with the self-image until the self-image has been changed. So this is right here is really important, guys, okay? What's up, bruh? What's up? What's up? I used to work for the Wright brothers. Oh, no way, Jenny, really? Good to see you, Bray. Inform them. You know I will, boy. You know I will. I got you. Hey, I hope everything is good. I hope you're practicing on your guitar, Mudflood Ray. I'm probably gonna go ahead and just sing my song a cappella one day, just cause I can on live. And you should do the same with your guitar one day, and then maybe somebody can mash it together, since neither one of us can mash our songs together. Oh, nice. Oh, that's what's up, Ray. That's what's up, Ray. That's what's up, Ray. Oh, y'all ain't ready for the song that me and Ray got. Y'all is not ready. Y'all is not ready. Oh my gosh. Okay. That's awesome, Ray. I saw that Jenny put Jenny T put your video, your live stream. She mirrored your live stream the other day. That was pretty cool. I caught some of it. It was long. Ray, you got some long ass lives, bro. Keep up the good work. I don't have that kind of stamina. I barely got the stamina to read as much as I do. That's what's up. That's what's up. I'm so glad to hear it. See, I love this community. We help each other. We bring each other together. We lift each other up. We are excited for each other. Yes, Jetty Sparks, we do. Hold on, y'all. I will be right back. I gotta go. I'll be right back. Don't leave. Oh gosh, you guys. Sorry. It's hard when I have my phone and that's the only thing I have to like I can't take calls or check anything with my phone. Sorry about that. Um um I will keep reading, but I might have to cut this short. um, I can't explain, but I have a feeling. So, and I'm trying to get in contact with those feelings more and more. A couple of times, shit has happened, and I could have prevented it from happening. And it's kind of weird to say that, but yeah, so I'll let you know. I'll let you know. Sorry to turn out weird. All right. Oh, you're trying to get that flat fellow on. That's what's up. He's got so much gravy. Flat fellow can talk about everything. He seriously could. His favorite, I think one of his favorite topics is probably Atlantis. But he's really good at talking about the speed of sound, and just any type of true earth topics, honestly. He's so fucking smart. So super smart. He can just spit out so many facts you wouldn't even know. You should just ask him on and just ask him a bunch of questions. He's awesome. Okay, sorry guys. I don't even remember where I left off. Oh, that's right. Okay, so before the stream I had said that affirmations might not work all the way, because positive thinking, just thinking positively, can't or won't work in some cases, because that positive thinking isn't ingrained in the self-image that they have in the back of their minds. In their subconscious, they're so negative, there is so much self-hate that they can't just say over and over and over again whatever it is that they need to feel better about themselves. So, and that's where it says positive thinking does indeed work. It can work when it's consistent with an individual's self-image, but it cannot work if it's inconsistent with the self-image until the self-image itself has been changed. So that's why we're getting deeper into ourselves and our understanding our subconscious and how our psyche and our consciousnesses work. In order to understand the self-image psychology and use it in your own life, you need to know something of the mechanism it employs to accomplish its goal. In order to understand self-image psychology and use it in your own life, you need to know something of the mechanism it employs to accomplish its goal. There is an abundance of scientific evidence that shows that the human brain and nervous system operates purposefully in accordance with the known principles of cybernetics to accomplish goals of the individual. Insofar as function is concerned, the brain and nervous system constitute a marvelous and complex goal-striving mechanism, a sort of built-in automatic guidance system that works for you as a success mechanism or against you as a failure mechanism, depending on how you, the operator, operates it and the goals you set for it. Okay, I'm sorry. Pause, you guys. 1 second, I gotta leave. Pause. Y'all still here? Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, you guys. Oh gosh, hello, hello. Thank y'all for sticking around, Ray. Madame Curie did research in radiology. Oh, what's up? Oh, your premiere is starting soon. Text me and I promise we'll finish the song. It's okay, dude. Wait. As long as your number's the same, I still got you. Hey, Wanderer. Oh gosh, I don't have to stop the stream, but I did have a feeling, and yeah, but everything's okay. Everything's okay. Thank you guys for your patience. I'm sorry I didn't like have a song or anything like to play. I wish I could have done that. But I just some things are more important than live streaming. Okay, so where was I? If y'all are still here, and for those who have made it this long, y'all can figure out with me what we're talking about. Okay, so basically, what I've said thus far is talking about the self-image psychology, and it's telling us that our mechanism employs a goal-oriented, goal-striving mechanism. Sorry. There is an abundance of scientific study that shows that the human brain and nervous system operates purposefully in accordance with the known principles of cybernetics to accomplish goals of the individual. Insofar as function is concerned, the brain and nervous system constitute a marvelous and complex goal-striving mechanism, a sort of built-in automatic guidance system that works for you as a success mechanism or against you as a failure mechanism, depending on how you, the operator, operated and the goals that you set for it. So this is the goals that you set for it in your self-compass and the goals that you set in your subconsciousness. It is also rather ironic that the cybernetics, which began as a study of machines and mechanical principles, goes far to restore the dignity of man as a unique creative being. Psychology, which began with the study of man's psyche or soul, almost ended up depriving man of his soul. The behaviorist, who understood neither the man nor his machine, and therefore confused the one with the other, told us that thought is merely the movement of electrons and consciousness merely a chemical reaction. Will and purpose were myths. Cybernetics, which began with the study of physical machines, makes no such mistake. The science of cybernetics did not tell us that man is a machine, but that man has and uses a machine. Moreover, it tells us how that machine functions and how it can be used. So this right here is how we got, well, that's what's up. But Ray, remember my laptop got stolen, so all I have is my phone, so I won't be able to do much besides just like sing on live, until I can get my mic and my laptop going back again. I'll be able to borrow one here pretty soon, so I might be able to do it this week, so I might be able to get in contact with you. But anyway, no, I am gonna text you later. For real. So you'll watch out for that. Okay, but back to this. So cybernetics, it doesn't tell us that man is a machine. No. It tells us that man has and uses a machine. What is that machine? That is our bodies. Our bodies are a machine. All right. Flat Earth Anthem. I love that song. And it tells us how that machine that we use, which is our bodies, how it functions and how it can be used. The self-image is changed for the better or worse, not by intellect alone or by intellectual knowledge alone, but by experiencing. The self-image is changed for better or worse, not by intellect alone or by intellectual knowledge alone, but by experiencing. And I have heard this a lot. Experiencing has a lot to do with our personalities, our subconscious, the lies that we tell ourselves. Wittingly or unwittingly, you develop your self image by your creative experiencing in the past. You can change it by that same method. It is not the child who is taught about love, but the child who has experienced love that grows into a happy, healthy, well adjusted adult. Our present state of confidence and poise is the result of what we have experienced rather than what we have learned intellectually. Our present state of self confidence and poise is the result of what we have experienced rather than what we have learned intellectually. Yes, Ryan, I'm back. Thank you for coming back. Everything is all great. Not live. Oh, come on, StreamYard. Oh, okay. That's interesting. If you send me a link, yeah, I can just use my phone. Self-image psychology also bridges the gap and resolves apparent conflicts between the various therapeutic methods used today. It furnishes a common demeanor for direct and indirect counseling, clinical psychology, psychoanalysis, and even autosuggestion. All in one way or another use creative experiencing to build a better self-image. Regardless of theories, this is what really happens, for example, in the therapeutic situation employed by the psychoanalytical school. The and the analyst never the analyst never criticizes, disapproves, or moralizes, is never shocked as the patient pours out his fears, shames, his guilt feelings, and his bad thoughts. For perhaps the first time in his life, the patient experiences acceptance as a human being. He feels that his self has some worth and dignity, and he comes to accept himself and to conceive of his self in new terms. So, this is just saying how when you go and you go to therapy and you talk to a therapist or an analyst or something, you're pouring out your thoughts and your feelings, and for the first time, someone is just absorbing them. They're not judging you. They're not telling you you're right or wrong. They're just hearing you. And for the first time in your life, you actually feel heard. You actually can accept yourself because you've said it out loud. You've had someone hear it, and you can internalize and in turn say if this really is who you are or not. And you'll be able to conceive of yourself in new terms. Science discovers synthetic experience. Bet, Ray. Bet. I'm so there. I want to do it so bad. Another discovery, this time in the field of experimental and clinical psychology, enables us to use experiencing as a direct and controlled method of changing the self-image. Actual real-life experiences can be a hard and ruthless teacher. Throw a man in water over his head and the experience may teach him to swim. The experience may cause another man to drown. The Army makes a man out of many young boys, but there is no doubting that the Army experience also makes many psychoneurotics. For centuries, there has been recognized that nothing succeeds like success. We learn to function successfully by experiencing success. Memories of past successes act as built-in stored information, which gives us self-confidence for the present task. But how can a person... Oh, man. Yeah. Wish I could, Law. What's up? Tell everybody I said hey, and tell Spicy Sarah I said welcome to the Kakalakis. I'm still in the Kakalakis. I'm just not in South Kakalaki no more. So interesting. It's so different. Oh man, just because it's not South. Hold on, I gotta blow my nose. Okay. Okay, where was I at? Okay, so for centuries it has been recognized that nothing succeeds like success. Yeah, no, I'm fine. I'm not allergic to anything. That's what I keep telling myself. I'm not allergic to anything. See, this is how we change our subconscious, you know. I believe that I can eventually like overcome any fucking ailment as long as I'm just like, you know, I keep saying to myself that I'm not allergic to anything. So, I mean, I'll keep taking allergy medicine, but I'm not allergic to anything. And one day that will be true. And one day my body will know that it's true. And I will not be allergic to anything. Because tomorrow I'm not going to be allergic to anything. Because I'm not allergic to anything. You see how that works? We learn to function successfully by experiencing success. Memories of past success act as built-in stored information, which gives us self-confidence for the present task. But how can a person draw upon memories of past successful experiences when he has experienced only failure? His plight is somewhat comparable to the young man who cannot secure a job because he has no experience and cannot acquire experience because he can't get a job. This dilemma was solved by another important discovery that, for all practical purposes, allows us to synthesize experience, to literally create experience and control it in the laboratory of our minds. Ain't nobody allergic to Flat Earth Farms. Both experimental and clinical psychology have proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that the human nervous system cannot tell the difference between an actual experience and an experience imagined vividly and in detail. Hey, you guys, are you listening? Both clinical and experimental psychology have proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that the human nervous system cannot tell the difference between an actual experience and an experience that is imagined vividly and in detail. That is how connected your nervous system is to your consciousness, to your subconscious. You cannot tell the difference between reality, your memories, a dream. It is all the same. You can't tell the difference. Although this may appear to be a rather extravagant statement, in this book we will examine some controlled laboratory experience where this type of synthetic experience has been used in very practical ways to improve skill in dart throwing and shooting basketball goals. We will see it at work in the lives of individuals who have used it to improve their skills in public speaking, overcoming fear of the dentist, develop social poise, develop self-confidence, sell more goods, become more proficient in chess, and in practically every other conceivable type of situation where experience is recognized to bring success. We will take a look at an amazing experiment in which two prominent psychologists arranged things so that the neurotics could experience normality and thereby cured them. Perhaps most important of all, we will learn how chronically unhappy people have learned to enjoy life by experiencing happiness. The secret to using this book to change your life. This book has been designed not merely to be read, but to be experienced. You can acquire information from reading a book, but to experience, you must creatively respond to information. Acquiring information itself is passive. Experiencing is active. When you experience something happens inside your nervous system and your midbrain. New engrams and neural patterns are recorded in the gray matter of your brain. This book has been designed to force you literally to experience. Tailor-made, prefabricated case histories have been kept intentionally to a minimum. Instead, you are asked to furnish your own case history by exercising imagination and memory. I have not supplied summaries at the end of each chapter. Instead, you are asked to jot down the most important points that appeal to you as key points that should be remembered. You will digest the information in this book better if you do your own analysis and summaries of the chapters. Finally, you will find throughout the book certain things to do and certain practice exercises that you are asked to perform. These exercises are simple and easy to perform, but they must be done regularly if you are to derive maximum benefit from them. Reserve judgment for 21 days. We're back to the 21 days. It takes 21 days to break a habit, 21 days. Do not allow yourself to become discouraged if nothing seems to happen when you set about practicing the various techniques outlined in this book for changing your self-image. Instead, reserve judgment and go on practicing for a minimum period of 21 days. It usually requires a minimum of about 21 days to affect any perceptible change in a mental image. Following plastic surgery, it takes about 21 days for the average patient to get used to his new face. When an arm or leg is amputated, the phantom limb persists for about 21 days. People must live in a new house for about 3 weeks before it begins to seem like home. These and many other commonly observed phenomena tend to show that it requires a minimum of about 21 days for an old mental image to dissolve and a new one to gel. Therefore, you will derive more benefit from this book if you will secure your own consent to reserve critical judgment for at least 3 weeks. During this time, do not be continually looking over your shoulder, so to speak, trying to measure your progress. During these 21 days, do not argue intellectually about the ideas presented. Do not debate with yourself as to whether they will work or not. Perform the exercises even if they seem impractical to you. Persist in playing your new role and thinking of yourself in new terms, even if you seem to yourself to be somewhat hypocritical in doing so, and even if the new self-image feels a little uncomfortable or a little unnatural. You can neither prove nor disprove the ideas and concepts described in this book with intellectual argument, you can neither prove nor disprove the ideas and concepts described in this book with intellectual argument or simply by talking about them, but you can prove them to yourself by doing them and judging the results for yourself. What's up, Singe? Much love, Singe man. You can prove them to yourself by doing them and judging the results for yourself. I'm only asking that you reserve critical judgment and analytical argument for 21 days, that you will give yourself a fair chance to prove or disprove the validity in your own life. The building of an adequate self-image is something that should continue throughout a lifetime. Admittedly, we cannot accomplish a lifetime of growth in 3 weeks' time, but you can experience improvement within the 3 weeks' time, and sometimes the improvement is quite dramatic. So, what is success? Since I use the words success and successful throughout this book, I think it is important to outline and define those terms. As I use these terms, success has nothing to do with prestige symbols, but with creative accomplishment. Rightly speaking, no man should attempt to be a success, but every man should attempt to be successful. Trying to be a success in terms of acquiring prestigious symbols and wearing certain badges leads to neuroticism, neuroticism, neuroticism. Okay. Hey, what's up, Jason Starr? Good to see you, boy. Do flat earth activism. Yeah, you do. Okay, so trying to be a success in terms of acquiring prestigious symbols and wearing certain badges leads to frustration and unhappiness. Striving to be successful brings not only material success, but satisfaction, fulfillment, and happiness. Noah Webster defined success as the satisfactory accomplishment for a goal sought. Creative striving for a goal that is important to you is a result of your own deep felt needs, aspirations, and talents, and not the symbols which the Joneses expect you to display. Brings happiness as well as success because you will be functioning as you were meant to function. Man is by nature, hey guys, this is it right here. Man is by nature a goal striving being, and because man is built that way, he is not happy unless he is functioning as he is made to function, as a goal striver. Thus, true success and true happiness not only go together, but each enhances the other. So that was the first preface. Let's see who all is here. Shout out to the chat. So we got Singe Man in the house. Ryan is in the house. Mr. Jason Starr. And Ray Mudflood is here. Let's see. I think that's all. Anybody else here right now? Awakened Mind might still be here. And Juan Torres might still be here. Dr. Law, you might still be here. Hey, you. I remember Eric was here earlier. Wanderer of the Zone, you might still be here. What's up? Yep, look at you. You're still here. And I remember Jenny was here too. So, all right, you guys. That was that was just the preface, letting you know what's starting. And can anybody, like, was anybody fascinated by that? Because I read that preface and I was like, yeah, I want to read that book. I want to know how to use this machine. This machine is my body, right? I am not my body. My consciousness is not my body. My consciousness uses my body, and half the time my consciousness is so far advanced ahead of me that I don't even have to think about raising my arm, right? Or picking up a pen or blinking my eyes or breathing. That is how advanced our consciousness is and how amazingly plugged in it is to the mechanical system that is our body. I don't know if you guys have ever actually gotten in an anatomy, but our bodies are fucking amazingly complex. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to continue to read chapter 1. This has been going on for about an hour, but I did have that little break where I had to get up and make sure that everything was okay. Let me get my bookmark here. So we're going to go ahead and do chapter 1. I didn't hear what you were saying, Ariel, but it's groovy. Vibrations. Much love, Singe Man. You can go back and watch the replay if you really want to learn how to, use this image, to use this book to change the self-image you have if you ever wanted to, like jump over a building or pick up a piano, or you wanted to suddenly know how to speak Mandarin overnight. This book should tell you how to change your self-image so you believe you can do it, and then you can do it. So, the self-image is a key to a better life. During the past decade, a revolution has been quietly going on in the fields of psychology, psychiatry, and medicine. New theories and concepts concerning the self have grown out of the work and finding of clinical psychologists, practicing psychiatrists, and cosmetic or so-called plastic surgeons. New methods growing out of these findings have resulted in rather dramatic changes in personality, health, and apparently even in basic abilities and talents. Chronic failures have become successful. F students have turned into straight A pupils within a matter of days with no extra tutoring. Shy, retiring, inhabilitated personalities have become happy and outgoing. What character do you choose? I will try the heretic monk. You mean like in a video game? I always wanted to be an elf. I feel like elves were like the most amazing. Like they've got all of these senses. They can do amazing things with their body. It's almost like they're super quiet. They can go in. They're like ninjas. Elves were like ninjas to me. Okay. Writing in the January 1959 issue of Cosmopolitan magazine, T.F. James summarizes the results obtained in various psychologists and MDs as follows. Understanding the psychology of the self can mean the difference between success and failure, love and hate, bitterness and happiness. To discover of the discovery of the real self can rescue a crumbling marriage, recreate a faltering career, and transform victims of personality failure. On another plane, discovering your real self means the difference between freedom and the compulsions of conformity. Sorry. On another plane, discovering your real self means the difference between freedom and the compulsions of conformity. Mm-hmm. The most important psychological discovery of this century is the discovery of the self-image. Whether we realize it or not, each of us carries about with us a mental blueprint or picture of ourselves. It may be vague and ill-defined to our conscious gaze. In fact, it may not be consciously recognizable at all, but it is there, complete down to the last detail. This self-image is our own conception of the sort of person I am. It has been built up from our own beliefs about ourselves. But most of these beliefs about ourselves have unconsciously been formed from our past experiences, our successes and failures, our humiliations, our triumphs, and the way other people have reacted to us, especially in early childhood. From all these, we mentally construct a self or a picture of a self. Once an idea or a belief about ourselves goes into this picture, it becomes true as far as we personally are concerned. We do not question its validity, but proceed to act upon it, just as as if it were true. This self-image becomes a golden key to living a better life because of two important discoveries. All your actions, feelings, behaviors, even your abilities are always consistent with this self-image. Okay, so you guys, know number one, all of your actions, your feelings, your behaviors, and your abilities are always consistent with whatever self-image you have. You will act like the sort of person you conceive yourself to be. Not only this, but you literally cannot act otherwise in spite of all your conscious efforts or willpower. The man who convinces himself to be a failure type person will find some way to fail in spite of all his good intentions or his willpower, even if opportunity is literally dumped in his lap. The person who convinces himself to be a victim of injustice, one who was meant to suffer, will invariably find circumstances to verify his opinions. So this is saying that if you think that you are a failure type, if you think that you are someone who is meant to suffer, if you are a victim mentality, you will always be a victim. You will always find some way to fuck it up for yourself, basically, because you're always going to be in that mindset, and your mind will, and reality will literally continue to give you what you want. If you want to be a victim, reality is going to keep making you a victim because the matrix is controlled by your self-image. The matrix is controlled by your self-consciousness, your subconsciousness. This matrix that we are in, your brain controls it. The self-image is a premise, a base, or a foundation upon which your entire personality, your behavior, and even your circumstances are built. Because of this, our experiences seem to verify and thereby strengthen our self-images, and a vicious or a beneficent, yeah. That doesn't look right to me. Our self-image, sorry. Because of this, our experiences seem to verify and thereby strengthen our self-images in a either vicious or benefit, benefit, beneficent cycle. I want to say beneficial, but that's not what it says. But I think that it means beneficial. So it's either going to be vicious or beneficial to you, as the case may be. It is set up. So basically, if you, it's saying that if you think, if your personality is bad, if your behavior is bad, even if your circumstances, they are all built, things that happen to you are verified and strengthen your self-image. Because if you always have something bad happening to you, then that's going to strengthen your self-image. If you continue to get F's in school, then you're always going to believe that you're stupid. So because that's just going to be like clues to you, right? That's just going to be more proof to you that you're dumb, instead of I can change this, this doesn't make me stupid, right? Oh, sorry. And that basically, this is what he's just going to say. He says, for example, a schoolboy who sees himself as an F-type student or one who is dumb in mathematics will invariably find that his report card bears him out. Then he has proof. A young girl who has an image of herself as the sort of person nobody likes will indeed find that she is avoided at the school dance. She literally invites rejection. Her woebegone expression, her hangdog manner, her over anxiousness to please, or perhaps her unconscious hostility towards those she anticipates will confront her, all act to drive away those whom she will attract. In the same manner, a salesman or a businessman will also find that his actual experiences tend to prove his self-image is correct. Because of this objective proof, it very seldom occurs to a person that his trouble lies in his self-image or his own evaluation of himself. Tell the schoolboy that he only thinks he can't master algebra, and he will doubt your sanity. He has tried and tried and tried again, and still his report card tells the story. Tell the salesman that he only has an idea that he cannot earn a certain figure, and he can prove you wrong by his order book. He knows only too well how hard he has tried and failed. Yet, as we shall see later, almost miraculous changes have occurred both in students' grades and in the earning capacity of a salesman when they are prevailed upon to change their self-image. Oops, sorry. Y'all still there? Here we go. So that's the second thing that you need to understand, is that your self-image can be changed. It can be changed. Numerous case studies have shown that one is never too young or too old to change his self-image and thereby start to live a new life. One of the reasons it has seemed so difficult for a person to change his habits, his personality, or his way of life has been that here too, nearly all efforts at change have been directed to the circumference of the self, so to speak, rather than to the center. Numerous patients have said to me something like the following: if you're talking about positive thinking, I've tried that before and it just doesn't work for me. However, a little questioning invariably brings out that these individuals have employed positive thinking or attempted to employ it either on a particular external circumstances or on particular habit or character defect, such as I will get that job, I will be more calm and relaxed in the future, this business venture will turn out right for me, etc. But they have never thought to change their thinking about the self that was to accomplish these things. Does that make sense to you guys? Are you guys following me this far? Do you see that how your self-image is? Yeah, I'm just ready to go back out. Go back out where? Are you following around? Do you see how positive thinking, just saying I will get that job, I'm not allergic to cats, right? Like just saying these things, like it has nothing to do with changing the self-image that you have, that the person that's accomplishing that, like you have to change how you see yourself in accomplishing that, because if I just say, oh yeah, I'm gonna get that job, the person that I view getting that job is still a failure, so I'm still gonna fail at that job, so I'm not even putting out real good affirmations, you see. Jesus warned us about the folly of putting a patch of new material on an old garment, or for putting new wine into old bottles. Positive thinking cannot be used effectively as a patch or a crutch to the same old image. In fact, it is literally impossible to think positively about a particular situation as long as you hold a negative concept of yourself. And numerous experiments have shown that once the concept of self is changed, other things consistent with the new concept of self are accomplished easily and without strain. One of the earliest and most convincing experiments along this line was conducted by the late Prescott Lecky, one of the pioneers in self-image psychology. Lecky conceived of the personality as a system of ideas, all of which must seem to be consistent with one another. Ideas that are inconsistent with the system are rejected or not believed and not acted on. Ideas that seem to be consistent with the system are accepted. And the very center of the system of ideas, the keystone, the base upon which all else is built, is the individual's ego ideal, his self-image, or his conception of himself. Lecky was a school teacher and had an opportunity to test his theory on thousands of students. Lecky theorized that if a student had trouble learning a certain subject, it could be because, from the student's point of view, it would be inconsistent for him to learn it. Lecky believed, however, that if you could change the student's self-conception, which underlines this viewpoint, his attitude towards the subject would change accordingly. If the student could be induced to change his self-definition, his learning ability should also change. This proved to be the case. One student who misspelled 55 words out of 100 and flunked so many subjects that he lost credit for a year became one of the best spellers in the school and made a general average of 91 in the next year. A boy who was dropped from one college because of poor grades entered Columbia and became a straight A student. A girl who had flunked Latin 4 times, after 3 talks with the school counselor, finished with a grade of 84. A boy who was told by a testing bureau that he had no aptitude for English won an honorable mention the next year for a literary prize. The trouble with these students was not that they were dumb or lacking in basic aptitudes. The trouble was an inadequate self-image. I don't have a mathematical mind. I'm just naturally a poor speller. They identified with their mistakes and failures. Instead of saying, I failed that test, factual and descriptive, they concluded, I am a failure. Instead of saying, I flunked that subject, they said, I am a flunk out. For those who are interested in learning more about Lecky's work, I recommend securing a copy of his book, which is now out of print. It's called Self-Consistency, A Theory of Personality. Y'all should go try to find that book because it's out of print. So that means we definitely need to have a couple of people find out about it and try to get copies of it ASAP. This guy, his name is Prescott Lecky, Lecky, and the book is Self-Consistency, A Theory of Personality. If I can find that book, guess what? I will buy it, and I will buy it no matter how much it costs. So Lecky also used the same method to cure students of such habits as nail biting and stuttering. Ooh, self-image helping you stop nail biting and stuttering. My own files contain case studies just as convincing. The man who was so afraid of strangers that he seldom ventured out of his house and who now makes his living as a public speaker. And there was the salesman who has already prepared a letter of resignation because he just wasn't cut out for selling, but 6 months later was number one man on the force of his 100 salesmen. The minister who was considering retirement because of nerves and the pressure of preparing a sermon a week was getting him down, now delivers an average of 3 outside talks a week in addition to his weekly sermons and doesn't know he has a nerve in his body. How a plastic surgeon became interested in self-image psychology. Offhand, there would seem to be little or no connection between surgery and psychology. Yet it was the work of plastic surgeons that first hinted to me the existence of the self-image and raised certain questions that led to important psychological knowledge. When I first began the practice of plastic surgery many years ago, I was amazed by the dramatic and sudden changes in character and personality that often resulted when a facial defect was corrected. Changing the physical image in many instances appeared to create an entirely new person. In case after case, the scalpel that I held in my hand became a magic wand that not only transformed the patient's appearance, but transformed his whole life. The shy and retiring became bold and courageous. A moronic, stupid boy changed into an alert, bright youngster who went on to become an executive with a prominent firm. A salesman who had lost his touch and his faith in himself became a model of self-confidence. And perhaps the most startling of all was the habitual, hardened criminal who changed almost overnight from an incorrigible who never showed any desire to change into a model prisoner who won a parole and went on to assume a responsible role in society. I reported many such case histories in my book, New Faces, New Futures. Following its publication, similar articles in leading magazines, I was besieged with questioning by criminologists, psychologists, sociologists, and psychiatrists. Sorry, I don't know if you guys can hear the stove going off out there. The man is making something. Hey man, if you making something, make me something too. If you watching, I don't know if you listening, but I want whatever it is you just made. It smell good. Where is I? Where was I? Oh, okay. I reported many such case histories in my book, New Faces, New Futures. Following this publication and similar articles in leading magazines, I was besieged with questions by criminologists, psychologists, sociologists, and psychiatrists. They asked questions that I could not answer, but they did start me on a search. Strangely enough, I learned as much, if not more, from my failures as from my successes. It was easy to explain the successes, such as the boy with the 2 big ears, who had been told that he looked like a taxi cab with both doors open. Aww. Oh, poor boy. He had been ridiculed all his life, often cruelly. Association with playmates meant humiliation and pain. Why shouldn't he avoid social contacts? Why shouldn't he become afraid of people and retire into himself? Terribly afraid to express himself in any way, it was no wonder he became known as a moron. When his ears were corrected, it would seem only natural that the cause of his embarrassment and humiliation had been removed, and that he should assume a normal role in life, which he did. Or consider the salesman who suffered a facial disfigurement as a result of an automobile accident. Ooh. Each morning when he shaved, he could see the horrific disfigured scar on his cheek and the grotesque twist in his mouth.
For the first time in his life, he became painfully self-conscious. He was ashamed of himself and felt that his appearance might be repulsive to others. The scar became an obsession with him. He was different from other people. He began to wonder what others were thinking of him. Soon his ego was even more mutilated than his face. He began to lose confidence in himself. He became bitter and hostile. Soon almost all his attention was directed towards himself, and his primary goal became the protection of his ego and the avoidance of situations that might bring humiliation. It is easy to understand how the correction of his facial disfigurement and the restoration of a normal face would overnight change the man's entire attitude and outlook, his feelings about himself, and result in greater success in his work. But what about the exceptions who didn't change? The Duchess, who all her life had been terribly shy and self-conscious because of the tremendous hump in her nose. Although surgery gave her a classic nose and a face that was truly beautiful, she continued to act the part of the ugly duckling, the unwanted sister who could never bring herself to look another human being in the eye. If the scalpel itself was magic, why did it not work on the Duchess? Or what about all the others who acquired new faces but went right on wearing the same old personality? Or how to explain the reaction of these people who insist that the surgery has made no difference whatsoever in their appearance? Every plastic surgeon has this experience and has probably even been as baffled as I was. No matter how drastic the change in appearance may be, there are certain patients who will insist that I look just the same as before. You didn't do a thing. Friends, even family, may scarcely recognize them, may become enthusiastic over their new acquired beauty. Yet, the patient themselves insist that they can only see slight or no improvement, or in fact deny that any change has been made at all. Comparison of before and after photos does little good, except possibly to arouse hostility. By some strange mental alchemy, the patient will rationalize, of course I can see that the hump is no longer in my nose, but my nose still looks just the same. Or the scar may not show up anymore, but it's still there. Scars that bring pride instead of shame. Still another clue in search of the elusive self-image was the fact that not all scars or disfigurements bring shame and humiliation. When I was a young medical student in Germany, I saw another student proudly wearing his saber scar, such as an American might wear the Medal of Honor. The duelists were the elite of college society, and a facial scar was the badge that proved you were a member in good standing. To these boys, the acquisition of a horrible scar on the cheek had the same psychological effect as the eradication of the scar from the cheek of my salesman patient. In old New Orleans, a Creole wore an In old New Orleans, a Creole wore an eye patch in much the same way. I began to see that a knife itself held no magical powers. It could be used on one person to inflict a scar and on another to erase the scar with the same psychological results. Y'all still listening? Y'all still there? Let me see. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 4 more pages in chapter 1. And so far we have been talking about, just the doctor, how the doctor became into psychology, and all that kind of stuff. So put a 1 in the chat. Let me know you're still listening and you're ready for the last 4 pages. The mystery of imaginary ugliness. To a person handicapped, what up, wanderer? To a person handicapped by a genuine congenital congenital, there we go. To a person handicapped by a genuine congenital defect or suffering from an actual facial disfigurement as a result of an accident, plastic surgery can indeed seemingly perform magic. From such cases, it would be easy to theorize that the cure all for all neuroses, unhappiness, failure, fear, anxiety, and lack of self confidence would be wholesale plastic surgery to remove all bodily defects. However, according to this theory, persons with a normal or acceptable faces should be singularly free from all psychological handicaps. They should be cheerful, happy, self confident, free from anxiety and worry. And we all know too well that that is not true. Nor can such a theory explain the people who visit the office of a plastic surgeon and demand a facelift to cure a purely imaginary ugliness. Nor can a theory explain the people who visit the office of a plastic surgeon and demand a facelift to cure a purely imaginary ugliness. There are 35 or 45-year-old women who are convinced that they look old even though their appearance is perfectly normal and in many cases actually unusually attractive. There are the young girls who are convinced that they are ugly merely because their mouth, nose, or bust measurements does not exactly match that of the currently reigning movie queen. There are men who believe that their ears are too big or that their noses are too long. No ethical plastic surgeon would ever consider operating on these people. But unfortunately, the quacks or so-called beauty doctors whom no medical association will admit into membership have no such qualms. Such imaginary ugliness is not all uncommon. Such imaginary ugliness is not at all uncommon. A recent survey of college co-eds showed that 90% were dissatisfied in some way with their appearance. That seems about right. I would probably say that just 90% of all people maybe are not satisfied with their physical appearance in some way. Would anybody agree with that? Or would you say that it's higher or lower? This one says that college co-eds showed that 90% were dissatisfied in their appearance in some way. If the words normal and average mean anything at all, it is obvious that 90% of our population cannot be abnormal or different or defective in appearance. Yet similar surveys have shown that approximately the same percentage of our general population finds some reasoning to be ashamed of their body image. We all know that that's propaganda and advertisement. Thank you so much, to the Burger King commercials for having girls in their bra and underwear eating a burger and they look like they're starving, like this is the first burger they've ate in like 6 months. And, for whatever reason, that's supposed to be how I look. Man. These people react just as if they suffered from an actual disfigurement. They feel the same shame. They develop the same fears and anxieties. Their capacity to really live fully is blocked and choked by the same sort of psychological roadblocks. Their scars, though they are mental and emotional rather than physical, are just as debilitating. I see you, awakened mind. I see you. Discovery of the self-image explains all the apparent discrepancies we have been discussing. It is the common denominator, the determining factor in all our case histories, the failures as well as the successes. The secret is this: to really live, that is, To find life reasonably satisfying, you must have an adequate and realistic self image that you can live with. You must find yourself acceptable to you. You must have a wholesome self esteem. You must have a self that you can trust and believe in. You must have a self that you are not ashamed to be, and one that you can feel free to express creatively rather than hide or cover up. You must have a self that corresponds to reality so that you can function effectively in a real world. You must know yourself, both your strengths and your weaknesses, and be honest with yourself concerning both. Your self image must be a responsible approximation of you. Sorry, I keep saying responsible, but it's reasonable. Your self image must be a reasonable approximation of you, being neither more than you are nor less than you are. When this self image is intact and secure, you feel good. When it is threatened, you feel anxious and insecure. When your self image is adequate and one that you can be wholesomely proud of, you feel self confident. You feel free to be yourself and to express yourself. You function at your optimum. When it is an object of shame, you attempt to hide it rather than express it. Creative expression is blocked. You become hostile and hard to get along with. If a scar on the face enhances the self image, in the case of the German duelist, self esteem and self confidence are increased. If a scar on the face detracts from the self image, as in the case with the salesman, loss of self esteem and self confidence are the results. When a facial disfigurement is corrected by plastic surgery, dramatic psychological results change. When a facial disfigurement is corrected by plastic surgery, dramatic psychological changes result only if there is a corresponding correction of the mutilated self image. Psychological changes result only if there is a corresponding correction of the mutilated self image. Sometimes the image of a disfigured person persists even after successful surgery, much the same as the phantom limb may continue to feel pain years after the physical arm or leg has been amputated. The observations. Okay, I began a new career. These observations led me to a new career. Some years ago, I became convinced that the people who consult a plastic surgeon need more than surgery, and that some of them do not need surgery at all. If I were to treat these people as patients, as a whole person rather than merely a nose, ear, mouth, arm, or leg, I needed to be in a position to give them something more. I needed to be able to show them how to obtain a spiritual facelift, how to remove emotional scars, how to change their attitudes and thoughts as well as their physical appearance. This study has been most rewarding. Today, I am more convinced than ever that what each of us really wants deep down is more life. Happiness, success, peace of mind, or whatever your own conception of supreme good may be, is experienced in its essence as more life. When we experience expansive emotions of happiness, self-confidence, and success, we enjoy more life. And to the degree that we inhabit our abilities, frustrate our God-given talents, and allow ourselves to suffer anxiety, fear, self-condemnation, and self-hate, we literally choke off the life force available to us and turn our backs on the gift which our Creator has made. To the degree we deny the gift of life, we embrace death. So I think I need to read that again. That is really important. Happiness, success, peace of mind, or whatever your own conception of supreme good may be, is experienced in its essence as more life. When we experience expansive emotions of happiness, self-confidence, and success, we enjoy more life. And to the other degree, we inhibit our abilities. we frustrate our God given talents and allow ourselves to suffer anxiety, fear, self condemnation, and self hate. We literally choke the life force available to us. We choke it off and we turn our backs on the gift which our Creator has made. To the degree that we deny the gift of life, we embrace death. Your program for being better. Your program for better living. In my opinion, during the past 30 years, psychology has become far too pessimistic regarding man and his potential for both change and greatness. Since psychologists and psychiatrists deal with so-called abnormal people, the literature is almost exclusively taken up with man's various abnormalities, his tendencies towards self-destruction. Many people, I am afraid, have read so much of this type of thing that they have come to regard such things as hatred, the destructive instinct, guilt, self-condemnation, and all the other negatives as normal human behavior. So he's saying that because psychologists have basically talked about the guilt, the self-condemnation, the destructive instincts, we think that that's normal. The average person feels awfully weak and impotent when he thinks of the prospect of pitting his puny will against these negative forces in human nature in order to gain health and happiness. If this were a true picture of human nature and the human condition, self-improvement would indeed be a rather futile thing. However, I believe that the experience of many patients have confirmed the fact that you do not have to do the job alone. There is within each of us a life instinct which is forever working toward health, happiness, and all that makes for more life for the individual. This life instinct works for you through what I call the creative mechanism, or, when used correctly, the success mechanism built into each human being. We're coming towards the end, guys. This is the final section, actually. New scientific insights into subconscious mind. The new science of cybernetics has furnished us with convincing proof that the so-called subconscious mind is not a mind at all, but a mechanism, a goal-striving servo mechanism consisting of the brain and nervous system, which is used by and directed by the mind. Okay? So, cybernetics has shown us that the subconscious mind is not a mind at all, but a mechanism that is used by and directed by the mind. The latest and most usable concept is that man does not have two minds, but a mind or a consciousness that operates an automatic goal-striving machine. This automatic goal-striving machine functions very similarly to the way that electro-servo mechanisms function, as far as basic principles are concerned. But it is much more marvelous, much more complex than any computer or guided missile ever conceived by man. Today, it is easy to lose sight of the fact that all electronic gadgets and computerized technology of any sort, from the internet to cell phone technology or satellites, bring us hundreds of channels of television, were programmed and made functional by human beings who formed a mental picture of something they thought was possible, then made it happen. We human beings not only have the capacity to create cybernetic systems outside of ourselves, but also the ability to learn how we can run our own cybernetic systems within ourselves. This creative mechanism within you is impersonal. This is important. The creative mechanism within you is impersonal. It will work automatically and impersonally to achieve goals of success and happiness, or unhappiness and failure, depending on the goals that you yourself set for it. Present it with success goals and it functions as a success mechanism. presented with negative goals, and it operates just as impersonally and just as faithfully as a failure mechanism. Dr. Maltz makes it clear that Dr. Maltz, Maltz, that is the name of the author. Dr. Maltz makes it clear that all of us have goals, whether we intentionally articulate them or not. The brain and nervous system are continually leading us in the direction of images we think about consciously, or images that are so much a part of us that we're led toward them on autopilot. The alcoholic or drug addict has goals just as much as the entrepreneur, politician, professional athlete, or mother to be. With this in mind, we can become aware of what's under the hood and whether or not we want the goals we're unconsciously moving towards or the ones that we consciously choose and work toward. Like any other servo mechanism, it must be a clear-cut goal, objective, or problem to work on. The goals that our own creative mechanism seeks to achieve are mental images or mental pictures, which we create by the use of imagination. The key goal image is our self-image. The key goal image is our self-image. The goals that our own creative mechanism seeks to achieve are mental images or mental pictures, which we create by using imagination. Our self-image prescribes the limits of the accomplishment of any particular goals. It prescribes the area of the possible. Like any other servo mechanism, our creative mechanism works on information and data that we feed into it, our thoughts, beliefs, interpretations. Through our attitudes and interpretations of situations, we describe the problem to be worked on. If we feed information and data into our creative mechanism to the effect that we ourselves are unworthy, inferior, undeserving, incapable, this negative self-image, this data is perceived and acted on as is any other data that in giving us the answer in the form of objective experience. Like any other servo mechanism, our creative mechanism makes use of stored information or memory in solving current problems and responding to current situations. Your program for getting more living out of life consists in, first of all, learning something about this creative mechanism or automatic guidance system within you, and how to use it as a success mechanism rather than as a failure mechanism. The method itself consists in learning, practicing, and experiencing new habits of thinking, imagining, remembering, and acting in order, 1, to develop an adequate and realistic self-image, and 2, use your creative mechanism to bring success and happiness in achieving particular goals. Hey, what up, Flatman X? Much love, bro. Hope you're not working too hard. I'm coming up to the end. This is the last page. So I just said that to develop the method itself consists in learning, practicing, and experiencing new habits of thinking, imagining, remembering, and acting in order to develop an adequate and realistic self-image, and use your creative mechanism to bring success and happiness in achieving particular goals. And I think that's something that I want to adequate and realistic self-image, because sometimes, and I know for me, I can definitely personally speak for myself, the self-image that I have, I don't necessarily feel that it can be adequate or realistic, right? Like there are some things that I want to do, or some ways that I see myself that just might not be possible. So adequate and realistic. And I have to be okay with the realistic actually being mind-blowing. So I don't want to limit what is real to what we've been taught, right? Because I'm learning more about our consciousness, our energy. We're light beings. We're beings that carry energy, and we are actually infinite. We are actually powerful, and it is realistic for us to think that we can change the reality that we're currently in. And I think that goes hand in hand. So I'm going to be reading this book, and I'm also going to be reading other books, but I appreciated adequate and realistic self-image, to use your creative mechanism to bring success and happiness so that we can achieve particular goals. And if you can remember, worry, or tie your shoe, you can succeed. As you will see later, the method to be used consists of creative mental picturing, creatively experiencing through your imagination, and the formation of new automatic reaction patterns by acting out and acting as if. I often tell my patients, if you can remember, worry, or tie your shoe, you will have no problem applying this method. The things you are called upon to do are simple, but you must practice and experience. Visualizing, creative, and mental picturing is no more difficult than what you do when you remember some scene out of the past or worry about the future. Acting out new action patterns is no more difficult than deciding, than following through on tying your shoe in a new and different manner each morning, instead of continuing to tie them with your old habitual way without thought or decision. Dr. Maltz's words, if you can remember, worry, or tie your shoe, are key to understanding how easy it is to get results using Psycho-Cybernetics, provided you allow yourself to believe that even a seemingly small victory, like learning to tie your shoe or write your name for the first time, is all you need to reverse the course of negativity in your life. In order to direct your servo mechanism towards success instead of failure, all you need is one experience that made you feel good about yourself. Remembering and then using that modest accomplishment will be instrumental in improving your self-image. You do not need a huge success experience to alter your self-image for the better. You do not need an experience that is a mirror of what you're trying to create or accomplish. All you need is an experience like tying your shoe or learning to write your name for the first time, wherein you can say, yes, I am glad I learned that skill. Yes, I remember the first day I could do it. Yes, I was happy. This one memory, this one positive experience, no matter how long ago it took place, is all you need to begin changing the course of your life in the present. And that, my friends, is the end of chapter 1 of Psycho-Cybernetics. Woo, man, there's so much gravy in this book. It's not, and we haven't even gotten started yet. He's just whetting our appetite. He's just whetting our appetite for now. So what do you guys think? Those people who are still here, do you have any questions? What struck a chord with you? I'm interested to try to get a little discussion going in the chat. If there is anybody in the chat right now, was there anything that stuck out to you that you heard? Do you think this is something that you would like to come back and hear again? Are you interested in chapter 2? Would you be interested in that? Like I said, I'm reading this book for my own growth and my own self-improvement, and my channel is all about that, and I hope to share what I've learned. So if this is something that you think that you would be interested in too, I would love to know. Do you think that you do you have what let me think. Sorry, let me have a question. Let me think of a question. Because one of the last thing he said was, no one understands my back pain. I'm sorry about that, Jason Starr. I feel like you have the ability to fix your back pain. I wish and I hope that maybe one day you can figure out what that is, but maybe it is something in your aura. Maybe your energies need to be changed. Maybe you could use some sound healing.
Maybe it really is something in your subconscious, some pain that is painful emotional scar that you have from your childhood that is manifesting itself in your body. That is how it works. Your subconscious is that powerful. So I actually had a book. Where your eyes all true. Nice. I was reading a book. Do you know Dave Murphy, the British guy? He wrote a book, and his book like said what certain emotions like affect like had effects on certain ailments in certain body. I don't have access to that book right now, but you know, one day I'm going to read that book too, and I'm going to be thinking about you, Jason Starr, when I get to the back pain page. I'm going to shout you out and say, "This is for you." Um, so yeah, I really enjoyed everything in this book so far. Really just whetting your appetite to the real deal. So the next book that I'm going to read, not on this stream because this stream was just about cybernetics, but the beginning of astrology for beginners, trying to learn about the zodiac signs and how they work. I'm going to be doing the introduction of that book, and probably trying to get to the first chapter of that as well. There's a lot of other books out there, guys. I am reading a book about auras. We will have that here, a book about chakras. We're going to learn about the sky clock and astrology. I'm still talking about how true earth, the true earth, the true shape of the earth, and the stationary level, horizontal plane that we live on. I'm thinking more and more that is a simulation. Not that it is a video game, not that we are in a computer or anything, but just like like holograms and simulation type stuff. I find that stuff very interesting. The man got me hooked on this guy called Archaics, Jason Archaics. I've been watching some of his stuff, and I really like what he has to say. He does a lot of research. He seems really sincere. So maybe I'll talk about that. But like I said, we can only do so many lives on my phone and reading and stuff. You've been doing it all, Jason. I feel you. I feel you. All right, guys. So come back. Eventually. For more reading, we are going to change it up with the astrology book, and just keep on keeping on here. Is there anything else that I want to say? I don't think so. I just wanted to read that. I think it's been a good stream. Thank you for your patience when I had to step away. Apologies, I didn't have like music or anything. That's all that matters, Jason. You do what you can, when you can, how you can. And the effort matters, the intention matters, and try to keep it as consistent as possible. That's all you can do. Much love to you, brother. I pray the Most High lays his hands on you and that your pain is gone immediately. And I'm expecting it to leave. All right, so come back again, my friends, to REL reads rainbows. REL reads rainbows. Come back again, my friend, to REL reads rainbows. Oh my gosh, Batman X, I'm sorry. I really wish I could use your intro and your outro. It was so cool. I still have it downloaded in my thing somewhere. Much love to everybody in the chat. Jason Starr, who is here, Flatman X, Awakened Mind, Wanderer Zone, Singe Man, Law, Ray, Jenny, everybody who stopped by earlier. Thanks for stopping by, and come back again. Stay flat, my friends. Bye.